the highest sea cliffs in Europe and Ireland's longest coastline, Donegal's isolated landscape is seeped in history and heritage. I visit the northwest to explore some environmental issues in an area once known as Ireland's Forgotten County. Grianán Alach on the Inishowen Peninsula is a perfect place to start my journey. Called after the Celtic sun goddess, the Grianán of Alach is the group of historic monuments. The main monument is that of an Iron Age stone fortress believed to be the seat of the Kingdom of Alach. But our relationship to the land has changed dramatically since the O'Neill kings ruled from here. From Grianán Alach, you can see Inch Island, another former stronghold for Donegal chieftains. Today, Inch Island and the lagoon are protected nature reserves, and I'm hoping to see some birds that have recently migrated from Greenland and Iceland. So I hear this has been a really big week for birds.
I suppose you could liken it to a service station on a motorway, if you want to put it like that. You know, the birds, this is the first landfall that they find on the way down from the north.
I'd say it would be an incredible sight if you were lucky enough to witness the arrival of them coming in their masses.
We have about 5,000 hooper swans here at the minute. They're one of two migratory swans that come here. We have buicks and hoopers, but it's a really important site for those. Andrew explained that the Inch Wildfowl Reserve is unique, as you will not see these threatened birds in such huge numbers anywhere else in Ireland. The greatest challenge of such a sanctuary is achieving balance between public access to the walks and conservation. With over 650 miles of coastline, Donegal is perfectly located for the creation of local, sustainable industry.
Martina, why is Donegal ideally suited to ecotourism?
By its very location, Tanya, it's a rural location, a rural landscape, and of course agriculture will be hugely important to Donegal, and we've seen that through the decades. And that whole area of ecotourism, that really all lends itself extremely well to Donegal.
Intensive farming has changed the way we grow food, but some farmers are taking a step back in time with a more sustainable approach. I'm going to visit Ireland's largest organic farm.
We would be lucky here in that our land, as it was reclaimed from the sea, has high levels of magnesium because it's full of seashells that are breaking down over years and years and years and releasing that magnesium into the soil as time goes on.
Do you think that it's possible for Ireland to go back to the way we were and just go completely organic again?
Personally, I do think we can go back to organic and label Ireland as an organic food producing country. Most farmers would have the belief that, you know, they're custodians of the land. We're passing it on to the next generation. So I think there's a market there that can be looked at and increased as time goes on. There's a few farms in England that have gone organic, some very big farms, and they integrate it with tourism by doing, you know, either backpacking holidays where you can come and stay and do some work on the farm and then go to the next one.
It's a great idea.
Or ecotourism can be done. It has been done elsewhere. It can certainly be done here.
Some of the newer initiatives in the Northwest include a food coast trail and the Donegal Harvest Festival, which links restaurants with local food producers. I visit Harry's restaurant in Bridgend, which recently won a Board Bia award for its use of locally sourced produce.
In the last 5 or 6 years, we've turned it into a local food hub. That means sourcing throughout Inishowen, in particular all the fish, rare breed porks, rare breed lambs, cattle, hanging all the meats ourselves, collecting all the fish straight from the boats, adding organic vegetables from Greenland Farm and White Oaks and all these good people around us. In Inishowen alone, over 30 food providers. To be honest, our situation isn't the normal city centre or harbour or country estate. We are in a border village in Bridgend, so we needed a reason for people to come here. The fact that it's local, that it's gathered that morning and we can put it on the plate that night, I mean, how special is that?
Thank you. After lunch, Danny took me to visit one of his local suppliers, John Hamilton in Inishowen, who has an organic pig farm.
You know, somebody going into Harry's restaurant, eating my pork, meeting me on the street and saying, hey, we ate your pork last night in Harry's and it was absolutely fantastic.
And has that happened?
For a farm, that happens all the time.
Working together like this is the foundation of a strong local economy. Before leaving Donegal, I had to try its famous surfing for myself. Donegal is now well known on the world surfing map, attracting thousands of visitors each year. At Ballyliffin Beach, I met with Daniel Gallina, an Australian surfing instructor, for my first surfing lesson.
Toe, and put your front foot into the middle of your two hands, stand up and turn sideways. And hopefully you'll be surfing towards the beach.
What made you want to come over to Ireland when the surf must be so cold here?
The waves are really good and there's not as many people in the water, but people are starting to cop on to how good it is in Ireland, so it's getting more people all the time.
Like the surfing in Australia, it's good, but here it's just as good, bar the weather.
Daniel is spearheading a new initiative that combines surfing and environmental education.
I'm just going to ask you, would you be interested in doing a wee clean up on the beach?
Yeah.
Just to keep our coast clean.
Did you guys know this was going to happen? I had a gorgeous day in Donegal. This place is absolutely beautiful. I've seen so much, and now I'm going to take one last surf.
My visit to the Northwest has highlighted the vital role conservation and local connections can play in building and sustaining a local, self-sufficient economy. The Wicklow Mountains are part of a granite mass which extends over a large part of Leinster. During the Ice Age, glaciers carved out U-shaped valleys to form lakes in their hollows, like Lough Dan and Glendalough. Since then, man has changed Ireland's landscape extensively, and particularly in the last few decades. Ireland has 6 national parks: Killarney, Glenveigh, Ballycroy, the Burren, Connemara, and the largest one here in Wicklow, which extends to 20,000 hectares. A visit to any of these is an education into our geological, historical, and natural history. Most of the lands in the national parks in Ireland are commonage, so farmers can still retain grazing rights while the public can enjoy walking along designated routes, as long as they leave no trace or damage. This offers an opportunity for farmers locally to get involved in tourism. I'm meeting with Wicklow's Rural Recreation Officer to tell me more.
Would there be many local farmers and people whose private land you've had to cut through to make the walks?
The walks going across in Wicklow are going across 92 different farmers.
Wow.
And we haven't had one problem whatsoever. There's 2 main things about the walk scheme. Number 1 is these walks have to be maintained, so to give the first option of maintenance to the local farmers. The second thing is insurance.
So how do they have to keep the land maintained then, the farmers?
It is a walk, so to keep it in what you call trail standard. Yeah, it's a path, it's not a footpath, but to keep it in the trail standard. Litter, they keep an eye on litter, they pick up litter and that kind of thing. We've 3 hills here: Mangans, Garryhoe, Ballybeg, and then Kyle. The first one is Mangans Loop, and that's a 5 kilometre. But if you're feeling a little bit more energetic, you can head out across what we call the Ballycummer Loop. Everybody's been talking about infrastructure in Ireland, the built environment for the last few years, and yet here they have kept what is probably our most valuable infrastructure, the hills.
With their diverse habitats, national parks provide a secure home to many of Ireland's protected species. So it's crucial that visitors like us are environmentally conscious. I'm at the Education Centre in Glendalough to see what role education plays in making children aware of our responsibility for the conservation of some of the last wild places of Ireland.
All animals, anything that is living within the national park is protected. But there are red listed data species, which means that they're animals that we need to keep an eye out. We can't just take them for granted. We need to continue to be vigilant and look after these things, hence the need for national parks and nature reserves.
So what are you guys doing today then?
Yeah, so today we have Family Fun Day looking at bats. We have bats living in our information office attic, at least 300. So a little pipistrelle bat apparently will eat up to 3,500 midges each night. So they're beneficial because the midges...
Where do they put it all?
Well, they have a high metabolism. So when they're flying, their heartbeat can be 1,000 beats a minute. So, they'll burn up a lot of these calories quite quickly.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So the kids will get to see this tonight?
You almost guaranteed, provided it doesn't rain, you're almost guaranteed to seeing bats emerge from a roost every night.
Ian brought me into a buzzing nature classroom where the children have just learnt about bats and are anticipating the night bat watch. What type of bat do you think that is?
I think it's a long-eared bat because it has really big ears. It's nice because it's a sea bat.
While waiting for the bats to emerge after sunset, I went for a short walk around Glendalought's early Christian monastic settlement.
Summer is a very good time to watch bats. A lot of the female bats have paternity roosts in buildings like the one we have here, and they will emerge sometime after sunset. They should emerge very, very soon.
Yeah, they can come from any place along this edge.
The atmosphere is brilliant tonight. There's loads of families out and everyone's really, really, really excited. So how does the detector work?
This is a heterodyne bat detector. So this is the one, the bats echolocate at an extremely high frequency, above our range of hearing. You can tell that's a pipistrelle bat because of the sort of the clicks and slaps that you can hear.
We'd actually hear nothing if you had no
No, you
detector.
wouldn't. No, if I switch this off.
Nothing.
There could be bats flying around our heads and it's just extremely high frequency ultrasound. We wouldn't hear it.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, there are bat workers out there who would probably be able to identify certain other species, but they have the skill and the field experience to do that.
So, do you think they're all done now, yeah?
I think they've all gone. It's been a good 30 to 40 minutes, and I think they've all cleared out and they're hunting. I'd say they've gone.
Well, it was really cool.
Yeah, we got the best of it.
It's October and I kept the promise to myself when I was last here to come back for the Educational Centre's guided viewing of the deer during their breeding season or rut. However, to get there I have a long walk through Miners Valley and then a steep climb up to the Glenalough Valley. On my way up to the deer rut I met two boys who were not looking for deer.
See a dinosaur, huh?
Where?
Hey, no, the dinosaurs are that way. Yes.
This is definitely longer than a mile.
Isn't she great?
Yeah.
Finally, I reached the Glenalough Valley. It was a long climb, but I hope it's worth it.
It's about the size of a really big dog, really small deer. Hi, how are you? Do you want to have a look through the telescope?
Yeah, I'd love to see something.
I'll just watch it.
I've only been seeing dots moving around, so tell me where to look first of all.
And you should be able to see a stag with his harem of females.
Wow, this is amazing. So how many are there altogether in the park?
Roughly, there's probably about 2,000 in the national park, the Wicklow Mountains National Park. And then in Wicklow altogether, there's probably up to maybe 40,000 or so. The red deer would have been here since the Ice Age. The Sika deer, which what we're looking at here is a hybrid of the red deer and the Sika deer. But you get true red deer down in Killarney. Obviously, there's a certain amount of protection for the wildlife, but there's no, specific sort of fence line, so people can cross in and out walking and things like that. So, I mean, it's the same for the deer; they can cross in and out of the park as well.
My visit to Wicklow National Park has brought home to me how we all have a role to play in ensuring the protection of the wildlife and habitats for the next generation. As we start a new year, it's timely to consider the role tourism has in our economic future. Tourism is said to be worth over €5 billion to the Irish economy and employs over 150,000 people, mostly in remote regions where industries will never reach. Yet the question is, how can we offer a unique experience to the world without exploiting or damaging our environment? I'm hoping to find some answers to that during my visit here to the Loop Head Peninsula in County Clare. I'm staying at Loop Head Lighthouse, which has been beautifully restored by the Landmark Trust. I wonder, will I get to see any of the 140 dolphins that the peninsula is said to be home to here on my visit? I had a surprise visit from Cillian Murphy, chairman of the Loop Head Tourism Committee, to tell me more about the recent European award that the community won for sustainable tourism. He kindly brought me some delicious local food produce.
We've got some St. Tola goat's cheese. And these are both made about 35 or 40 miles up the road from us.
The Eden Award aims to highlight hidden communities of the 27 member states of the EU that offer a unique tourism experience that is sensitive to the environment. So you won this Eden Award this year, and that's why I'm here. Can you tell me about that?
Eden was it's very definitely low volume tourism, and the key to it is low volume, sustainable, responsible tourism, and that's very important here. Most of us don't live here to make $1 million. Most of us live here because it's the most beautiful place to live, and we don't want to spoil it. So while we would like to see a little bit more tourism, we don't want to see it at the cost of what we have.
So is this a traditional fishing area?
Definitely so. That income stream is gone. So we've all had to look at how do you replace it. And many of them have turned, and myself included, have turned to the tourism sector.
Were you a fisherman?
Yeah, my dad is a fisherman. We're originally from West Cork, and we came up here when I was 6 or 7. After a couple of years, you just kind of get to the stage where, working 18, 20 hours a day, and the monetary rewards aren't coming in. We ended up myself and my wife ended up going into the pub trade and from then into the restaurant business. So there still is a fishing industry here, and we can go from the restaurant and I can buy fish every day for the restaurant. There are many other businesses here on the peninsula that have grown from guys who were fishing and decided that the fishing couldn't sustain them. So we've got Dolphin Watch Carrigold, Jeff McGee, ex-fishing skipper, Fish and Stay, Luke Aston, ex-fishing skipper. And they're using their skills and their knowledge of the waters here to provide very niche tourist products. We need to go after the people who are into their geology, into their bird watching, into their walking, cycling, their low impact. Those people have a sense of the environment purely because of their interest. So they're not going to come here and trash it. They're going to come here and respect it.
I took a walk down to the village of Kilbaha and up to the bridges of Ross. I'm hoping to see if I can learn anything from this community on how to create a sustainable Irish tourism industry for the 21st century. I'm meeting with John Murphy, who has 30 years' experience bird watching in County Clare. So how would you rate Loop Head for bird watching?
Well, here in Clare, we know Loop Head as the golden triangle for birds. Every year here, we have a huge amount of people come to the bridges of Ross to watch the seabirds coming as they migrate down along the coast of Ireland, heading to the west coast of Africa and South Africa for the winter. But many of the people coming here are long-term bird watchers, experienced bird watchers, coming from countries like Britain, France, Belgium, Holland, Scandinavia. Now, they're not just coming for your normal regular seabirds that you have breeding around the coast here, like the gannet. They're coming for little snow buntings, and Lapland buntings breed in northern Iceland, up in Greenland and Arctic Canada. Later in the autumn, in October time, when we get the tail ends of the hurricanes coming across the Atlantic, small little American warblers and thrushes end up here. And they end up coming in, being attracted at night time. They migrate at night time, and they come in at night time and get attracted to the lighthouse above, and they'll spend a couple of weeks here fattening up, recovering, and then probably head south for Africa. We've seen other birds arriving in here, like glossy ibises, and they're an all-black type curlew type bird, slightly larger than the curlew, and they've come from the Mediterranean too, and we're seeing more and more of those coming every year.
Okay, well that's
So
interesting.
those kind of species are turning up now in the last 4 or 5 years.
And has there been any, changes for the worse? I mean, conservation-wise?
Well, some of the species, the numbers have dropped off in huge. There's been a 40% decline in a lot of the small bird populations.
Why do you think that is?
Again, changes in climate, changes in farming practices, changes in the way we've actually created problems in the habitats. We've wrecked a lot of habitats where these birds live.
It's clear from my chat with John that we need to take better care of our habitats and environment here in Ireland. In a recent Fáilte Ireland survey, 94% of tourists said that the reason they chose to holiday in Ireland was to experience our beautiful scenery, unspoilt environment, and the friendliness of the Irish people. Dolphin Watch Carrickahult is proving a big hit with nature lovers who have rated it one of the top wildlife trips in Europe. It's run by Jeff and Suzanne McGee.
To the left of the gun battery, the remains of a 6th century church, Carratown or St. Credan, who lends his name to this headland.
These are the cliffs of Kilclar, halfway between Carrickahult and Lucan.
Perfect example of the type of sedimentary rock that lies under most of County Clare.
This particular cliff face is a prime example of climate change that occurred 350 million years ago. You can see where the thin, muddy sheets give way to the much thicker sand-rich beds halfway up the cliff. And that was because the sea level had risen about 60 metres, geologists believe.
I went up to ask Jeff, a former fisherman, why he knows so much about geology.
We take a lot of geologists out from all over the world, from Houston, Texas, from Aberdeen, from Nigeria, to look at this. They use the peninsula here as a teaching example. I wouldn't attempt to understand as much as they do, but basically these rocks speak for themselves.
Jeff and Suzanne are very committed to the environmental education element of their work.
It's about turning people onto the marine environment and making a living at it. And it's an honest living. We feel good at the end of the day, usually, that we've made people a little bit wiser about the marine environment. The dolphins are like an ambassador, and then you can use that to educate people or help them see the damage that we're doing, like the amount of plastics in the water. 90% of seabirds in the northeast Atlantic have some plastic in them.
Jeff's experience as a fisherman is clear as he pulled up right on cue to a pod of the most amazing dolphins.
Some socialising going on here.
Oh, look. Oh, and over there, there's loads of people. Oh! Oh my God! Oh, wow! God, we are so lucky. Oh, wow. Cool, check it out. Wow. Oh, wow. Check it out, over here. Oh, wow, that was incredible. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'd love to swim with them.
It's hard to stop smiling after seeing all those.
I know, I was the same. I was like beaming the whole time.
Another reason for the local community winning the Sustainable Tourism Award was their revival of traditional Shannon Curragh building in County Clare.
How are you, Paddy?
Hiya, Tanya, we'll do a better job and get you to see it. We'll get you out for a pull.
Oh, cool. I'd love that. Ah.
Yeah, this is one of the West Clare Curragh club boats. There were 9 built. So basically what it's done is they've been built through the club with a leader grant, and it basically brought Curraghs into all the different villages. And there's Curragh clubs now set up throughout the county.
One of the key strengths, I think, for the Eden was that A, it pulled us all together, and B, it's made us very aware of what we have. There's a whole lot of people out there that live in places that are not quite. The last thing we would like to see here is 3 acres of asphalt, 25 tour buses. You know, the wildlife, the bird watching here, it's just stunning. All of that just goes when you get a mass tourism product in here.
Past experience in Ireland has shown us that tourism has often been very important to the Irish economy when we hit the ropes. I'm inspired by how this Loophead Peninsula community from Kilkee to Kilbaha are working to protect and preserve what is best about their unique landscape and environment.